Welcome to You Will Bear Witness, where we advocate for PTSD sufferers and child abuse survivors. The information we give is for general use only. If symptoms persist, please seek the help of a professional. One of the most common symptoms of many PTSD sufferers is setting and maintaining clear boundaries is an essential part of healing the scars of PTSD. When you're going through the process of recovery, boundaries help you face your fears at a pace that's realistic for you. Boundaries also help you to take care of yourself and maintain healthy relationships with others. Help yourself heal from your trauma by setting boundaries in therapy with yourself and with other people in your life. Communicate with your therapist. Throughout your recovery, make sure you and your therapist are on the same page about your expectations and goals. Check in regularly to discuss your progress. Bring up any issues you want to focus on in upcoming sessions, and make it clear if you don't feel ready to work on certain issues yet. For instance, you might say, "I'm not yet ready to talk about some parts of my trauma. Can you be patient with me while I build up my nerve? I'd really appreciate it." Your therapist should respond positively to any hesitation you have about certain issues. Don't let a fear of how your therapist might react prevent you from speaking up. Speak up if you're uncomfortable with any aspect of therapy. Let your therapist know if something isn't working for you. Don't feel obligated to go along with any type of treatment that makes you feel threatened or scared. For instance, if exposure therapy is going too quickly for you, tell your therapist you need to slow down. Say, "This is a bit too much for me right now. It's bringing up an upsetting set of memories that I'm not ready to deal with. Can we slow it down, please?" Establish healthy boundaries in your relationship with your therapist. Keep your relationship with your therapist friendly yet professional. It's okay to like your therapist, but don't try to initiate a personal friendship outside of therapy sessions. Respect for your therapist's boundaries as well as your own is important. It's also important for both you and your therapist to uphold your agreements. For instance, you should be able to count on when and where your sessions will be held. Mutual respect and trust are the keys to a healthy therapeutic relationship. Try not to get upset if your therapist asks you to change something about their interactions with you. They keep the same professional standards for all of their clients. Setting boundaries for yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Avoid blaming yourself for your PTSD. Be patient with yourself as you heal, and don't try to rush yourself through the recovery process. Prioritize your own well-being, even if that means avoiding certain places and situations for a while. For example, if a certain date or session aggravates your PTSD symptoms, give yourself plenty of downtime and avoid scheduling demanding events during that time. Make sure you work with your therapist on a plan for how to handle self-loathing. This may include acknowledging and honoring your thoughts, and then redirecting them to be kinder to yourself. Get into the habit of fact-checking your thoughts. Anxious or irrational thoughts can feel very real, even if they're not true. Instead of letting your fears run away with you, focus on facts. When you start to worry or engage in negative self-talk, ask yourself, is that really true? For instance, if you're worried you'll never be able to recover from your PTSD, take a mental step back and remind yourself that many people do make a full recovery with enough time and therapy. You can also check in with a friend or family member to help you determine if your thoughts are realistic. Establish healthy routines. Commit to caring for yourself as well as you can, even if you don't always feel like it. Eat well, exercise regularly, get enough sleep, and make some time to relax every day. Keep track of these activities in a personal calendar to ensure that you make time for them. Rhythmic cardiovascular exercise like jogging or biking is an effective way to ease PTSD symptoms. Meditation is a good way to relax when you're feeling stressed. Other healthy relaxation strategies include yoga, writing in a journal, and doing visualization exercises. Don't self-medicate with drugs or alcohol. These substances can cut you off from your feelings, making it much more difficult to heal from PTSD. They also carry a high risk of addiction. Educate your family and friends. If they don't know much about PTSD, look for some articles or pamphlets you can give them to read. They can even accompany you to a therapy appointment or two if you're comfortable with it. This will give them an opportunity to ask questions and learn more about your condition. The better they understand your condition, the more they will be able to support you and uphold your boundaries. Talk to your loved ones about how PTSD affects you. Let them know how they can help you feel comfortable and safe as you work towards a recovery. If certain behaviours bother you, or if you can't do some of the things you used to, make sure your loved ones understand why. Let the people close to you know what your triggers are. You may also want to tell them how they can help you if you have a flashback. Be polite but assertive about your needs. Practice speaking up for yourself when you feel uncomfortable or anxious. State your needs directly and concisely. Be courteous when you make a request, but don't apologise or feel guilty for looking out for yourself. For instance, if someone is standing uncomfortably close to you, say something like, "Excuse me, would you mind stepping back a little?" If someone challenges you, remember that you don't have to defend yourself or answer any questions that you don't want to answer. Just say something like, "Oh, that's private and I'd prefer not to go into it." Avoid situations and activities that are too uncomfortable for you. If someone repeatedly ignores your boundaries, you may want to stay away from them for a while. If you know that a certain place is a trigger for you, don't go there until you're ready to confront your fear directly. If you're having a hard time dealing with a situation, don't feel bad about leaving. You can say something like, "I'm going to step away for a bit and get some fresh air." If you're with somebody else, come up with a signal ahead of time to let them know you're feeling overwhelmed. If you're having a hard time identifying your triggers, then try journaling. Write down times that you feel uncomfortable and describe your surroundings, such as the people, location, sounds, time of day, and any other noticeable factors. Look over your journal after a few weeks to identify people, places, and other factors that may be common triggers for you. Setting boundaries with others. Spend time with people who support your recovery. Seek out friends and family members who respect your boundaries and want to help you get better. Consider spending less time with people who don't understand PTSD or who make you feel bad about yourself. Social support is a key element of PTSD recovery, so don't isolate yourself. Consider joining a support group for people with PTSD. This can be especially helpful if your friends and family members aren't very supportive of you. Keep in mind that becoming romantically involved with someone you meet in recovery can be detrimental to your recovery. Talk with your therapist before becoming involved with anyone you meet in recovery. Reinforce boundaries that aren't upheld. Setting boundaries is merely the beginning. To protect your own well-being and have enjoyable relationships, you must be willing to enforce your boundaries when others cross them. Come up with some feasible consequences, and don't be afraid to voice them when you feel violated. For instance, you might say to a family member, "I told you it freaks me out when you sneak up on me like that. I don't want to accidentally hurt you with my reaction. I'll have to limit my time around you if this keeps happening." Keep in mind that you might have to repeat yourself many times before the person really gets it. It can take a long time for people to change their behaviour, even if they are supportive of you.